Right here, here, and here. And I know what you're thinking. Evan, that's ridiculous. A storm can only be in one place at one time. And you're right. But when that one time is in the future, then we have to use weather models in order to figure out that one place. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through all the different scenarios and also cover a little bit of the severe weather across the United States and temperature. So let's get into it. All right, first starting off with the temperatures of the United States. This is for the peak heating of today on the 4th at 4 p.m. And as you can see, still going to be hot all the way from Texas up into Minnesota with the hundreds expected in Texas and Minnesota. A little bit cooler in Kansas and Nebraska, going up in the Northeast. Still seeing cooler temps right on the coast there, but still hot. I mean, 80 to 90 degrees up there. West Coast, though, looking pretty nice today. Moving this forward to the next day of peak heating, you can see that heat hangs on down here for Texas and starts to move into the Ohio Valley out in front of the little cold front that we're expecting to start some severe weather out there. Minimal threats, but we'll go over that in just a little bit. But yeah, getting a little bit hotter, but not unmanageable out here. Nothing that we haven't dealt with this summer before. All right, pushing this forward even further into the next day's peak heating. We're talking about the 6th here. And yeah, you can see that cold front is really doing work back here, really pushing those temperatures down again. I mean, still a little bit anomalously hot up here in Montana, going through Kansas, Missouri, into the Ohio Valley. But I mean, a lot cooler than it just was. So that's good. Not too long of an increase of heat. Still seeing some of that heat hang on down here in the southeast and in Texas, also going into Arizona. And moving this on into the next day, you can see that those temperatures are still hanging on over here for Texas and still cooler around most of these states here. So the main story is, gonna get a quick little heat up here from the Minnesota region down into Texas, and then that cold front's gonna sweep through the Ohio Valley here, bringing cooler temps for the southeast and the northeast, and then it's gonna stay relatively cool up here in the west. All right, moving on to the severe weather. Here's what we can expect over the next couple of days. We got a slight risk out there for parts of Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. No tornado threat. Main threat today is going to be those damaging winds, 15% hatched risk. That's up to 75 miles per hour and above. Small chance, but still a chance for those kind of winds. And also hail of up to a quarter size. Going into day 2, we also have a slight risk for parts of Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin as well. There's actually a 2% tornadoes. First 2% tornado risk we've had in a while out here. And yeah, gonna have to watch that. I do think there's a small chance that this will go 5%, maybe on the northern half up here near Wisconsin, or maybe down here in the northern part of Iowa. And if that does happen, we will go live. We also have 15% risk for those damaging winds anywhere in that slight risk out there. And then we also got a 15% chance for hail out there. Now, moving on over to the tropics, as you can see, one of our fish storms has completely died out here, got strung out like a spaghetti noodle. Also, the storm over here, this up here is Idalia, and it's gone. And then we're not even getting any more updates on this storm. Maybe some rain there for Nova Scotia, a couple of gustier winds, increased riptide, but nothing too serious in terms of impacts. Also, gotta still have this fish storm over here, and it's just kind of going in circles out here. It was kind of going up to the north, now it's going down to the south. I think we're really not concerned about that right now. Got another wave coming off of Africa here that we're eventually gonna probably have to do updates on. And then down here we have the main story of the day, which is this guy over here, which now has a 2-day chance of 70% forming out there, and also a 7-day chance of 90% of forming. So an overall chance of high still of forming, except now it's a little bit of a higher chance in a smaller time period. So we really got to watch this. Looking at the high def view of this storm, the main storm of the day, you can see we still got those whites back underneath these greens, reds, and yellows that are swirling around a little bit more than it was last time I looked at this storm. Still some convection, but not really seeing this convection really forming a center of the storm just yet. Coming out here to the water temperatures out there, you can see that we got 29s, 30s, 31 degrees Celsius where this storm is projected to go, and you really need around 26, 27 degrees Celsius for these storms to form and be able to hold their strength. So definitely warm enough for this storm. Coming up over here to the GFS model, running this forward, you can see this is about where we left off when we compared and contrast a lot of the storms in the future. And we still don't have a tropical storm or a tropical depression, so it seems like that part part of the forecast did confirm there, but as you can see, over the next couple of days, the models are picking up in intensity now, and we're expecting this thing to really start to ramp up, at least according to the GFS here, potentially even get to major hurricane status as it approaches just to the north and east of the Caribbean there. So definitely going to have to watch to see if this model trend can happen, because that would be a pretty strong hurricane there. And, what we're about to go over is there's some agreement on this scenario. So let's go over to the euro now, push this forward. And as you can see, it's kind of at the same level of intensity. It takes a little bit longer for it to start to pick up in intensity. It actually takes a pretty long time. Maybe a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane at this point, just to the north of Puerto Rico and the Lesser Antilles. Definitely going to have to keep our eye on for this scenario because, this is a low-end Category 1, and then we also have a high-end Category 3. So definitely differences of opinions, but you can still see that these tracks are pretty similar right now. So let's go over to the CMC model, compare this to those other models, and as we get over to just to the north of the Lesser Antilles, it's kind of taking the middle ground here. So this would be a Category 2 hurricane out here just to the north and east of Puerto Rico. Again, seeing that agreement, which is just crazy this far out, this much agreement in the track of this storm. So I'm definitely pretty confident when it comes to the track of this storm. The intensity, not so much, and we'll go over that here in just a second. If we come over to here, you can see that most models do bring this up, but there's still a southerly component that can bring impacts to the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. So I would definitely suggest you guys still watch this. Flooding risk could still be an issue, maybe even some wind damage, some power outages if one of these southern tracks are taken. And you never know, these models shift around a lot, but this is the ensemble, the spaghetti map, and as you can see, most of these tracks bring this just to the north of there. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Again, these things can shift around through time here. Hopping over to the intensity, you can see that there is actually quite a agreement that this is going to make it at least a Category 2 status here. Really have none of these models sitting up camp here in Category 1, but we do have one down here at the tropical storm force, and it's a couple down here of this storm not even forming. But the mass majority of these models are bringing this up into Category 2 or Category 3 status. I'm pretty confident at this point, even though we're 6 days out. Sounds kind of crazy. I'm never confident this far out, but a lot of these models are bringing this into Category 2, Category 3 strength. So wouldn't be surprised if we got a Category 2 or Category 3 out of this storm. So definitely gonna have to watch out for that, especially if this thing comes close to the Puerto Rico area, and then maybe down the line as we start to get more information about what the impacts to the United States are gonna be, if there are gonna be any in the first place. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, as it does help out the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.